Thank you. Mr. Massey is recognized for 5 minutes.
I yield to my friend from Florida, Mr. Gaetz.
Is Hunter Biden a national security threat?
That's not a question that would come up before me, Congressman.
You're the head of the National Security Division, so it seems sort of on the nose.
It's not in my practice or experience to identify individuals
not in my purview.
and to
We've
label
heard that before.
any individual, an American citizen, or any individual as a national security threat.
Well, you would certainly concede that if the adult offspring of the President of the United States or the Vice President were compromised, that would be a national security threat, right?
We speak through our filings in court, and we speak through our actions in open court. So I would
speak to this.
remain
Where's the laptop?
in that position.
Do you know where Hunter Biden's laptop is?
Again, I'm not going to talk about any potential ongoing investigation as I sit here.
Do you know where it is?
I'm not going to talk about any ongoing investigation.
You come here and you tell us you follow the facts and the law, but you can't even follow a laptop that you guys have had for 3 years.
We follow the facts and the law, and we speak in open court about our cases.
But you aren't speaking about this. But you know who is speaking about it? The whistleblowers from the FBI who've gone to Senator Grassley and said that you guys purposefully take any information that is derogatory about Hunter Biden and you go and rat hole it so that you never have to speak about it in any circumstance. But the good news is you're not the only ones with that laptop. So Patrick Ho was convicted of bribing government officials in Africa, and he gave $1 million to Hunter Biden. Are you familiar with that?
I'm not going to speak about any ongoing investigation.
Is that an ongoing?
I can assure you
is that an ongoing investigation?
I'm not going to speak about any potential ongoing investigation.
Don't you see that degrades the country's belief in you guys when you have whistleblowers saying that you're purposefully rat-holing this information, and then you come here and say you won't talk about it? I mean, you know, inside Hunter Biden's multi-million-dollar deals with a Chinese energy company, Washington Post, Matt Vizier, Chinese elite paid $31 million to Hunter and the Bidens, Peter Schweitzer in the New York Post. Hunter Biden's business partner called Joe Biden the big guy in panic messages. Do you guys call Joe Biden the big guy at the Department of Justice?
So I think it's important to understand why we don't speak about cases outside of the courtroom.
By the way, I already know why.
Sir, if I may answer the question.
You know why you don't speak about it? Because it's about Hunter Biden. You guys have no problem leaking about other stuff, right? Like, you got no problem going out and tagging parents at school board meetings as a national security threat. But when all of the facts and all of the law are before you regarding the corruption of Hunter Biden, you don't want to speak to that at all. And it's precisely why you've got folks that are talking to Senator Grassley about it. Bohai Harvest. So 10 days after Vice President Biden takes Hunter Biden to China, 10 days after, this long, toiling venture of Hunter Biden that can't get off the ground, 10 days after they go, he automatically gets approved. So for a deal in China with Bohai Harvest. Have you guys looked into that?
I'm not going to talk about any ongoing investigation.
Well, you know who else is talking? Tony Bobolinsky. Tony Bobolinsky told the world that Joe Biden was cut in on a CCP energy deal that was orchestrated by Hunter Biden. Have you guys talked to Tony Bobolinsky?
Again, we don't talk about ongoing investigations in settings such as this.
So Joe Biden, how about this? Will you commit to a classified briefing on these matters?
I'd certainly be happy to talk to you or any member of the committee about matters of national security.
Okay, well,
but
is this a matter of national security?
We do not talk outside of courtrooms about ongoing investigations.
Well, is there an ongoing investigation of the annual fund dinner that happened where Joe Biden was Vice President of the United States and Hunter Biden holds his fund's annual dinner at the Chinese embassy? But in order to do that, in order to get the Chinese embassy to roll out the red carpet for Hunter Biden and to raise money for his fund, he had to go to the embassy 30 minutes before and have a one-on-one meeting with the Chinese ambassador. Do you think it's possible that that meeting might have jeopardized national security?
I'm not going to comment about any potential or ongoing investigation.
Well, here's the thing. It's pretty easy to see that Hunter Biden is compromised. I think every American knows that's a threat to national security. I think we're watching a crime spree in progress that Hunter Biden is orchestrating. And one has to wonder, what are the Chinese getting for the tens of millions of dollars that they're cutting the Biden family in on? What is the Chinese Communist Party getting as a result of cutting in 10% for the big guy? And I just happen to notice that, you guys canceled the China initiative that President Trump put in place where you focus talent on those things. You know, Jim Biden said to Tony Bobolinsky that the reason they're able to get away with this corruption is plausible deniability. And that is precisely the plausible deniability that you are animating and exemplifying today. And you know what? Winter's coming. We're going to be in the majority, and then you're going to have to answer these questions for the country.
Yield the remaining 2 minutes to my friend from Florida. If that's all right.
Did anyone at the National Security Division encourage L3 to purchase Pegasus?
So I'm not aware of anything about that matter. So I don't know.
Oh, you are, because people who work with you have come and briefed us on it. And I'm citing, of course, here the New York Times article. Defense firm said U.S. spies backed its bid for Pegasus spyware. So Pegasus is the most exquisite spying software in the world. It's zero-click. It can get at people's phones. It's been used to target politicians, journalists, dissidents in some places. And here you have L3 saying that they were encouraged to go buy it from the national security apparatus. It's very important, under oath, for you to tell me whether any of those people were at the National Security Division.
So, I'm sure you can appreciate I don't have any information about the public reporting. I'm aware of public reporting relating to that, but I don't have any other information.
No, but so what you're saying, is that a yes or is that a no? Because we're going to find out eventually.
I'm not going to comment any further.
Wait a second. Whether or not our own government used a private company as a cutout to go buy spying software that deprives people's rights. And what you're saying is, I'm not going to get a yes out of you, and I'm not going to get a no out of you, because you're just not going to tell. You don't think the American people deserve to know that?
I'm not aware of the facts that you're asserting.
You know what Pegasus is?
I'm not aware of the facts that you're asserting.
You know what Pegasus is?
Yes, I definitely have heard of
Okay,
Pegasus.
so you should be able to tell me whether or not anyone who works at the National Security Division was out there trying to goose some private company to go buy it for you guys to use. Yeah. Did you or did you not?
So I'm not aware of any facts that relate to your question.
I think you are.
Mr. Owens, time.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Florida seek recognition?
Move strike last word.
Gentleman is recognized.
I can assure my colleague that I don't take any money from the NRA. I give them money because I'm a lifetime member, and I don't take any money from any political action committees, regardless of their ideology or perspective. And so, to question the motives of our members, I think doesn't align with certainly my experience in politics. And I would invite my colleagues on the Democratic side, if you'd like to join me in not taking PAC money, I would certainly welcome you with that. So let's not question each other's motives. And the fallacy in my colleague's argument is that this gun control will in fact save lives, when the amendment points out that the need for firearms goes beyond just the constitutionally prescribed rationale, that people in unsafe communities that have been made less safe as a consequence of policies that have been instituted by Democrats at the state and local level, necessitate personal protection and self-protection. And the legislation even sort of admits through its drafting that there will be a great deal of firearms that are on the streets and that are available to people that might do harm. And we want to make sure that the rights are also reposed in those who wouldn't, law-abiding Americans who want to protect themselves and protect their families. And so I think you see in these series of amendments, we're trying to probe how reasonable Democrats are ever going to be on this issue. We already know our colleague on the committee from the state of Missouri, Ms. Bush, consistently and fervently advocates for the defunding of police. Now, the Democrats who are often present in the committee like to pretend as though that's not part of the lexicon and the paradigm for national Democrats. But when someone on the Judiciary Committee is just entirely hell-bent on defunding the police as part of the Democrat agenda, it certainly gaslights these decisions at the local level that deprive law enforcement of needed public safety resources. So in these amendments, we're saying, well, look, if you want to take people's guns, can you at least not take people's guns if they're living on the border and your policies have created a dangerous cartel-infested turnstile in their communities? And your answer was no. And then we said, well, beyond the border, in areas where you see these dramatic reductions in public safety budgets, where people are being essentially left to fend for themselves as Joe Biden is moving MS-13 to live next door, can we at least allow those folks to have personal protection and protection of their homes and families? I can speak on behalf of my constituents in Florida who greatly value the stand your ground law, the law that puts really the presumption on the side of someone who's being attacked, not on the side of an attacker.
And for the stand your ground law to be fully vindicated in its application and use, people have to have the full complement of their Second Amendment rights. And that's why I'm grateful to support Mr. Roy's amendment. And I would yield the gentleman from Texas my remaining time.
I appreciate the gentleman from Florida. And I would
in my time in the Senate, I have been the leading defender of the state of Israel in the United States Senate for the past decade, and that is a labor of love from the heart. When it comes to standing and fighting against anti-Semitism, that is something I've been proud to lead on. You know, we saw several years ago, sadly, some of the radical anti-Israel members of the House of Representatives repeating anti-Semitic tropes, tropes that have been used to justify horrific wrongs against the Jewish people for a long time. The House of Representatives tried to pass a resolution condemning anti-Semitism. Nancy Pelosi introduced the resolution condemning anti-Semitism, and sadly, the Democratic conference couldn't agree on it. Because of the squad, because of the strong anti-Israel sentiment, they couldn't pass a resolution condemning anti-Semitism. When that happened, I thought it was important that we see a strong bipartisan condemnation of anti-Semitism. So I went in the Senate to Tim Kaine, Democrat from Virginia, obviously was the running mate of Hillary Clinton. And I went to Tim and said, Tim, can we do better on the Senate side? Can we come together clearly and unequivocally and condemn anti-Semitism? We drafted a resolution. The resolution was the Cruz-Kaine resolution that clearly and explicitly condemns anti-Semitism as a unique evil, as an evil that goes back thousands of years. It condemns BDS, the boycott, divestiture, and sanction movement, which targets unfairly the state of Israel and is a manifestation of anti-Semitism. It condemns the anti-Semitic tropes that came from the squad as anti-Semitism. And I have to say I was proud, very proud, that the United States Senate passed that resolution 100-0, unanimously. We brought together every Republican and every Democrat condemning anti-Semitism. That's the sort of unity we need standing against anti-Semitism.